You're right. Yeah, you might be inside the body.
Okay, any questions on that? Any questions on that? Okay, so sequence prescription, like I said, we're taking the same motion, changing the context in which it's applied. I call that a very embryonic motion, embryonic example of sequence prescription. Why? Because we have techniques that do this kind of stuff. Right? So, for example, we have a right step through punch, and I come here, right? I already have this motion, this technique, which is why I wanted to bring this into the conversation right away. Because it's something we already have somewhere else. I'm just injecting it into this technique, okay? So now, let's look at a little bit more sophisticated motion. So, blade sword. Grabs, right? Kick, down, strike. That is my base technique, correct? Now, this last move, I'm going to change into a block instead. Okay? So, block, kick, come back to the hand, and then I'm applying my outward hand sword here, but I simply have a hand attached into my gooseneck here. Now, if you want to be real mean, like they like to call me, it's drive into that radial on the forearm at the same time. Feel a little bit more pain compliance on your opponent. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so still going through the base technique. Recommend maybe coming up on this check, that way this hand doesn't get away from you, right? Check, kick, and I'm coming back to the hand. I work down into the elbow. Just gonna be in the elbow here. Peel this off, and I'm working into this S lock or a gooseneck lock, okay? Driving down. This 90 degree, this 90 degree is what I need to have this accomplished. And then from there, like I said, I'm just applying downward diagonally with my hand sword. Okay? Downward diagonally with my hand sword, just like in the base technique. That makes sense? See the correlation between the two? Alright, try it.
That's a different Tell me if I don't
this, and then coming into that.
Yeah.
So you change the transition to this, same thing that we automatically do. Right. 1, 2, and then one shot. It's just a matter of, I'm not doing the instant to this.
Which you can keep in your slide. When you miss what you can, just like take your thumb and you can stick it inside here. You can still get that That's what he's doing to end up making it easier.
Control. You want to put the thumbs on here, so basically on the palm. You can see here, now I have the radio there. So now I have this small motion, but I'm still getting the same tap.
Now you're still having the 90s? Still having the 90s? And it's still it's different, right? Maybe we have to ask. It's like, oh, that's it. I can come in. So your automatic response
right, great. Any questions on that thus far? Okay, a couple of tips and tricks for getting this wrist lock, right? Because I had a couple of conversations with people as I was going down the line that I just want to make sure everyone aware of it. We'll talk about this, right? 1, 2. Now I come into this, talk about getting that 90, right? It's also really important to try and get your thumb on the other side of their hand, right? I see a lot of people trying to grab like this. The reason why is because that thumb on the other side of my hand is what allows me to articulate this way, okay? It actually has a back slap against that brace. Now, as I come into this, getting into, as I made mention, this is not necessarily going to work on everyone. There are some people that this nerve, the radial nerve, isn't as pleasant, or they can withstand it a little bit more than others. But one way that you can make this a little bit more effective is, right, if their wrist is loose, hanging out, doesn't hurt as bad. However, if you actually have that muscle bound up because you have this 90, because I'm trying to employ this wrist lock to begin with, as I'm coming to this, it tightens the muscle across that bone, makes driving into it a lot more effective and a lot more painful. Okay? That's very tricks, right? Alright, any questions thus far? Okay, so now let's look at clutching feathers. Okay, we're going to do base techniques once. Just staying here, I'll put it in there for you a couple of times. Okay, so only feathers technique in the whole system we got, right? So for a left hand hair grab, we're going to trap this to our head, step back, drag it up the strike, at least as I'm going through it. This is going to come up the center, out block. As I come into this heel palm, hammer fist into the jaw, maxillary hinge, and then hammer fist into the groin. It'll be inside the stance, outside the stance, either way. Generally speaking, I like to be inside the stance because there's a whole lot of other things I want to do to them at this point. But regardless, reverse go with your hammer fist, crossover and cover out. Any questions on just base technique on a body? Like I said, we're going to go through the air a couple of times just so we're on the same page. That way we know what sequence I'm trying to script. Yes, ma'am?
On something like this, you know, the hand grab, since I'm really small, is there another way of grabbing?
Are we circling back to the wrist lock, or are you discussing that hair grab?
No, the wrist lock.
The wrist lock?
You know, when they grab, and I'm trying to grab the hand off, I can't seem to really grab the hand off.
Okay. So, if you're having trouble with that, what I would recommend, as I'm coming through this, boom, boom. Now, as I come back, still heel here, right? Now, at this point in time, you might transition to sliding the thumb underneath, because I could have my hand completely away from this and be more on the wrist to kind of close that gap just a little bit. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does.
Okay, we can look at it a little bit more with that specific dynamic, but getting the articulation on that wrist is really important if we're going to accomplish that as well. Okay, good question though. Anything else? Okay, so let's look at clutching feathers. Alright, so just in the air. Air grab, coming in, we're going to trap, step back to extend, expose that armpit, drag it out the wind. Step drag in, extend it out with block with the heel palm. Hammer fist, crossover, cover out. Any questions on base technique? Again, I know a lot of you guys already have this. I'm not trying to reteach it to you. It's just a matter of getting the sequence that I'm trying to discuss, right? So, any questions on at least my version of the base technique? No? Alright, let's go through just once more, a little bit faster. Trap, step back, block, extend outward to hammer, crossover, cover out. Yeah? Alright. Get a feel for that motion. So let's pair off, do it a couple of times. Okay, any questions on the base technique? Executed on a body. Again, like I said, no, we all have our own versions of this, and it's totally fine. But just looking at the motion I'm having, right? So now, this is the only hair grab that we have in the system, right? And what's it designed for? Why is it a left-hand hair grab?
We're going to attack with the right.
Right, I'm going to attack with the right. So primarily, individuals are right-handed, and usually, therefore, they have their right hand or the power hand back. Now, I don't know if you've noticed, but there's a lot more lefties running around nowadays. So let's say they grab us with the other side. Okay? So now, we're going to come through this, boom, here, and then come up center. And then as I trace out, with my extended outward block, what does this do? Folds in, right? As I'm coming out into my heel palm, right? So I'm folding out, and then I can transition this into what would be my hammer fist to come down, and then hammer fist to the right. Results in a takedown. Okay? Yeah? Yeah, I plan on it, but just any questions thus far? Don't know? Okay. All right, so we're here. 1, 2, comes up the center into my extended outward block, and what would be my heel palm, but I'm changing that to a grab so I can maintain and collapse this arm. Okay? As I'm here, instead of taking the hammer fist to the face, instead I'm taking it into the arm, right? And then hammer fisting what would be the groin, but it results in a takedown because I have the arm tied up and locked. See, it's just scripted, right? The exact same motion I just did. But now I have an arm tangled up in that exact same motion, resulting in a takedown. Questions? All right, so.
Not switching to keep it I am.
I've actually worked better.
That's right.
Actually, we want to do it further and I heard you dropped his check.
On the shoulder.
There you go. There you go.
I have to make sure I'm not here back over the arm. Right. That's my one.
I think my hand's a little small. That might make it a little
Yeah, that's happening.
this way. Stretch.